When your players entered the Vault of Dragons, they probably thought a dragon was going to be their final boss. Turns out it's wrong. It's going to be a person or a bunch of humanoids. I don't think there's a single encounter here where it isn't just humanoids. A whole bunch of them. One of them might be a Grell and a Gazer, I guess. It's all going to be humanoids that they end up fighting for their final boss. And I think that's pretty interesting because all of this time the main threats to the party in the campaign have been people in high power. People. Humanoids. And the encounter happens not when, you know, they go into the boss room, but when they try and leave what they thought was the boss room. And then whatever their final villain was comes out to kill them. Well, actually, only one of them has the balls to show up themselves. The rest hide behind stuff, like smart people. Well, I guess Jarlaxle's smart as well. In any case, I've ran this segment once and I've mostly forgotten what happened. What I do know what happened, though, is that I did way too many factions and the fight was a piece of cake for the party because they had joined about 3 or 4 different factions that I threw in their face like an idiot, and then when their reinforcements came they had about 1 billion things on their side and it went by pretty quickly. In any case, it's almost gonna be just like if they try and leave, they're gonna get attacked. If you want to be tactful about it, then maybe the enemies are hiding behind some of the pillars and just kind of jump out and go wapa before they get proper chances to do anything, etc, etc, which I think could be pretty cool. But in the end, they're going to end up fighting a group of people who work for the villain that you have selected. If you read, you can see which ones are which, and I think it's pretty interesting that only Jarlaxle shows up. Out of all of the villains, Jarlaxle is the only one who has a pair of balls on him and decides to walk in. Now, granted, he has the most powerful group that he goes in with because he arrives himself, a CR 13 guy with legendary actions, and also with 3 Drow gunslingers, each of them I believe CR 4 or 5. He does not mess around in this. However, to counteract that, they do let Jarlaxle and the party have a parlay, right? So he wants all the money and the staff, which the party are just not going to give, but he gives them a chance to talk. If Jarlaxle is the villain and in the final fight they don't have enough allies and Jarlaxle whoops their ass, they know that they got themselves in the situation because they refused him. You know what I mean? Something interesting about this final fight is that the characters can lure enemies into Oranax's lair. If they're like, it's the dwarf with the staff, let's quickly stab. Because he's an adult gold dragon. Who will protect the horde. If the players are smart about it, they could potentially have an adult gold dragon on their side just by walking up to him. I think that there needs to be some level of negotiation that the dragon himself gets to like see them hand over all of the money to Waterdeep. But at least then they don't die. I don't think Jarlaxle would kill the party. The rest of the groups would. Jarlaxle will probably take all their stuff and leave them out on the streets, like my Jarlaxle did in my game when the party lost to him. So I think something important to note about this is that faction reinforcements can arrive. And this is why in my chapter 2 videos I didn't recommend overloading the party with factions. 1 or 2 is the sweet spot. In my Dragon Heist game that I'm playing in, I don't know if we'll ever be in more than 1. Our DM, Rich, gave us 1 faction and another which we refused. Order of the Gauntlet and the Zhentarim, 2 very conflicting groups. Some people in the party had motives for going into each one, but ultimately we chose as a party to not join the Zhentarim and instead are just with the Order of the Gauntlet, which is still going to make us win the encounter because the Order of the Gauntlet reinforcements are the most powerful. If your party are members of the Order of the Gauntlet, they're going to have Hlam on their side. Hlam is, I think, the most powerful person in Waterdeep, or at least the module, apart from, like, you know, Lyrel Silverhand or Vajra Safar or Manchun, because they're, you know, 20th level spellcasters around that range. And the other most powerful reinforcements are the Zhentarim, which are the entirety of the Doom Raiders, except the ones imprisoned or dead for some reason. Oh wait, never mind, I didn't look at the Lord's Alliance one. Lyrel Silverhand can show up, with J. Lester Silvermane and a bunch of City Watch. The worst one, by far, is the Emerald Enclave. 3 swarms of rats! If you're a member of the flippin' or Lord's Alliance, Lyrel Silverhand herself will show up to help you. But if you're a member of the Emerald Enclave, here's a bunch of rats. I love that. I definitely think that maybe some of these should be remixed. I don't know if Lyrel Silverhand herself would show up. Jarlaxle Silvermane and a bunch of the City Watch makes sense. Lyrel Silverhand, even if it would make sense, she is very powerful, and I feel like this is just the module wanting to flex all their NPCs. Some of these are balanced. So Force Grey sends Maloon War Dragon, right? That's cool. I like that. The Harper's one is good. It's Mert and a bunch of swashbucklers. One of them can be Renir Neverember, which is cool because the party have fought with him before, likely at least. And yeah, I like a lot of these reinforcements. Some of them should maybe be scaled down because, you know, But I think that some of these are interesting. The Bregendarthe, Lord's Alliance, and the Zhentarim basically want it all, right? So if your party is a member of the Zhentarim and the Bregendarthe, and like the Drow Gunslingers appear to help them, and so do the Doom Raiders, they might start throwing hands next. Because they might get into an argument about who gets the gold, because the Zhentarim want half, the Bregendarthe want all, and then also stuff like, so if the Lord's Alliance is there, they're going to want it all as well for the city. Something interesting that I like is that if the Lord's Alliance show up, Jarlaxle just pussies down and says, alright, yeah, you can have it. I was going to get it for you, but I mean, you're here now, so there you are, bye. I love that so much. In my Dragon Heist game, I took the campaign outside of Waterdeep, and they went on from level 4 onwards just outside of it. Meanwhile, Jarlaxle completed Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and he got the frickin' money and the staff, gave it to Lyrel, and got a place in the Mass Lords of Waterdeep. I think that's cool as hell. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that can happen here. Main thing I would recommend is not overload the initiative, right? For final fights, you definitely want there to be more going on. I think you can achieve that with a couple interesting things. Maybe use some of the dragon legendary actions, like even if the party don't actively decide to bait the enemy into fighting Oranax can help from the back with lair actions, right? So for lair actions, one is just selfish, gets advantage on initiative, and so it gets advantage on just everything for a turn apparently. Wait, what? But the other one basically banishes someone to a plane of existence, and they can use charisma checks to try and get out, or they can just get out in a turn, right? So temporary banishment could be cool, or an axe could just banish one of the little foot soldiers and they're like, oh, and then they come back and everyone's dead and they're like, oh. There's a lot of things that you can definitely do as a DM to be quite creative with this final fight, and I definitely encourage you to do so. Now, I'm not saying to not bring some of these overpowered as shit NPCs into it, but maybe make them take a backseat, right? You don't want Lyrel Silverhand, if she appears, to just instantly run in with her flame tongue longsword and her silver hair and just frickin' and just kill everything, right? You want there to be a balance with it. So maybe, if Lyrel Silverhand appears, she could instead just be casting support spells, right? She could just be helping out the party to make them empowered. Similarly with Hlum, even though Hlum is a very powerful monk, maybe only make him be a powerful monk on legendary actions. With his action, he can heal the party, give them shields of faith, etc, etc. I think that that's kind of why they did that, so that if they're fighting with Hlum, it's not, wow, we get to just watch Hlum kill everything. Like, Hlum can help you guys. Overall, the fight can go a lot of different ways. With mine, I had Jarlaxle as the final enemy, and he turned up and peacefully asked for the gold to be returned. When the players said no, they got into a fight. The players had the Emerald Enclave on their side. They were also a part of the... what else were they a part of? The Harpers and Force Grey. So they kind of just absolutely destroyed everything. Jarlaxle was around for a round or two before he ran. Jarlaxle managed to escape, actually. And yeah, I think that overall the fight was very interesting, but there's definitely some things you should tweak. In any case, if you have anything to talk about, comment it or join the Discord where we have a lot of cool members. You can also like, so that we know that you like the video, and subscribe so that you know when we make videos. In any case, thank you for watching. See ya. So I think... let's just look anyway. Skibbity bum da da.